Joining me today is Dr. Wayne Lesperance, Professor of Political Science at New England College, and we're here to talk everything New Hampshire primary. And part of that everything is the governor's race.
Sure.
So we know who the characters are.
Clash of the Titans, John. Maggie Hassan, a sitting United States governor. Kelly Ayotte, a sitting United States senator. Both women, both formidable. This is probably the biggest race in the country in terms of Senate races. This is it. This is going to be, everyone's going to be focused. The amount of money that's going to flow into New Hampshire for this race, we're talking probably $60–70 million, unprecedented money. So yes, this is the big one, and I know you know this, but we will be hosting a debate between Maggie Hassan and Kelly Ayotte here at New England College. We want to make sure folks know about it, and they're invited to come. We'd love to have you on campus.
It's going to be in a relatively intimate venue. I mean, it's not a 4,000 seat auditorium.
About 100 folks in attendance in the room. It's a small venue. We've partnered with a variety of media outlets, and so you can see it online, you can see it on television. But I think what's cool about that is you're going to have a lot of students in there, and there's going to be the opportunity for them to ask questions. So we're going to hear from a lot of different perspectives, and these folks are going to get tested. This is a big race. They ought to be pushed.
Right now, just in terms of what's happening across the country and the top of the ticket, what's happening locally, and with what you see with polling, is this a very tight race?
It is. The challenge that you have is you have two incumbents, right? And voters in New Hampshire really like their governors, and Maggie Hassan has good numbers among citizens in New Hampshire. Kelly Ayotte is also a relatively popular United States senator. The challenge that we're all trying to sort through is what is the impact on the top of the ticket, Trump's candidacy, on Republican candidates down ballot. We've been talking about this a lot. I know we've talked about this before on this show. That really is going to be the key difference. In terms of the two of them, their likability numbers are about the same. In the polling data, they're about the same. I think Maggie may have a slight edge, 1 or 2 points within the margin of error. It's a dead heat. That's why this race is so competitive. So what we just talked about in terms of voter turnout will have an impact. Senator Ayotte is probably in the toughest fight of her political life, and as is Maggie Hassan. We'll see how that goes, how that turns out going forward. Was
the primary helpful or harmful to Kelly Ayotte?
I think primaries in general are good. I think primaries force candidates to sharpen their skills, to work on their stump speeches, to really think what voters want to hear, and to make sure their message is crafted in a way that speaks to that. So I'm of the mind that it's good. She won almost 80-20 over her challenger, so it wasn't even close. But she took it seriously. She did the campaign event. She participated in a debate. I would have not advised her to do that, but she did, and certainly did well. I think in this case this was good for her.
In terms of the policy differences, what do you think will be the significant wedges that the candidates, not outside interest groups,
sure,
but the candidates will push?
I think you're going to see Senator Ayotte really push foreign policy, national security as a top concern to voters, and highlight the role that she's played on the Senate Armed Services Committee. Maggie Hassan, as a governor of New Hampshire, does not have the access to that kind of experience that a sitting United States senator might. So I think that's going to be from Kelly Ayotte's point of view the push. I think Maggie Hassan, we've seen it already in some ads, is going to try to connect every chance she gets Kelly Ayotte to Donald Trump. She's going to try to connect Kelly Ayotte to Washington, D.C. interests and paint her as an out-of-touch candidate or out-of-touch senator with the voters of New Hampshire. And I think that's the sort of framing. One more on policy, one more on the unacceptability of their opponent.
Just forgetting parties and forgetting the people, if those are the two narratives that people think about, who wins? The negative or the positive? You know,
I want to say positive messaging works, but we know that negative campaigns, negative ads work. So there's a lot of other variables at play, but if I had to just look at those two variables, I would have a tilt towards Maggie Hassan.
Because of the negative messaging?
Right. And because of Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a very polarizing figure. So if you can tie a candidate to him, you know you have cemented a block of supporters for yourself, but you've also identified folks that are really upset with that association with Donald Trump, and they're not going to vote for your opponent.
Okay, well, we're out of time in this segment, but when we return, we're going to continue our conversation focusing on the gubernatorial race. So please stay with us.